These were the moments when, at 11:24 p.m. on the 3rd of November 2021, police pulled over Terence Darrell Kelly's car as he drove not far from where he was holding then 4-year-old Cleo Smith captive. They pinned him down and arrested him before rescuing Cleo from a nondescript community housing duplex in Carnarvon, Western Australia, 75 kilometres south of the Blowholes campsite where 18 days before he'd kidnapped little Cleo from her tent where she was sleeping with her mother, stepfather and little baby sister. Those infamous words, "My name is Cleo," must have been music to those police officers' ears. They must have been shocked, elated, relieved, angry, every emotion you could possibly think. And then you just can't imagine how her parents felt when they got that call saying, "We've got her, we've got Cleo, and she's safe, and she's alive." New details have come out about the abduction of Cleo Smith since Terence Kelly has now been sentenced to a paltry 13.5 years in prison for abduction. I'd have locked him up and thrown away the key, but then again, that's just me. But it was a single ping to a phone tower that was only built in 2018 that led detectives to him. A single ping when he turned his phone on just after 3 a.m. on October 16th, 2021. I don't know what led him to turn his phone back on, but I'm so thankful he did make that fateful mistake. He avoided surveillance, he took a rough track all the way back to Carnarvon, and his reasoning for doing it was because he wanted a real life doll. This was a very, very mixed up individual. The case of Cleo Smith just shows you that it is possible to bring an abducted child home. After the first few hours, and definitely after the first few days, it becomes increasingly likely that if that kid does come home, they'll be no longer alive. Cleo was a lucky one. There was luck, but also there was a huge amount of police work behind the scenes. But not all children who go missing have a happy ending like Cleo. You know, Cleo still has nightmares. Cleo still has a ways to go. But she's safe. She's home. And she can live the rest of her life. But what about the cases like Summer Wells? Summer Wells has been missing for 23 months to this very day. And in this video, we're going to talk about the sad reality. Is it too late for Summer Wells? Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video, and as I said in that rather long intro, we're going to talk about, is it too late for Summer Wells? Now, yesterday I made a video about what was said before the script. Don was the first on June 18th to talk about the planting the flowers, the candy from grandma, the washing her hands, and then going inside, seeing her brothers. Her brothers were told to watch Summer, I'll Only Be 2 Minutes by Candice, who went to fix grandma's knee brace at the camper, which is 20, 30, 40 feet away from the front door. And then just 2 minutes later, Candice went in and said, "Where's Summer?" Well, she went downstairs to play with her toys in the playroom. You know, that script. It took Candice till June 28th to tell the story herself to camera. But in those days before June 28th, when Candice told that story for the first time, Don was developing the script, but there was key pieces of information that came out even before that, in the first few hours, that Summer was seen by her brothers leaving the basement door. Now, in the comments to that video, I don't think I read two that were the same. Like, you go down and everybody's got an opinion, and that's great. You can group them into kind of themes, I guess. You know, most are the parents did something, the parents are responsible, but then you can group them into kind of sub-themes. In social science research, and this is sometimes used in psychology, you can take what people write or what people say, and you can do a type of analysis on those words called thematic analysis. And if I was to do that on the comments of this video, I would pick my themes, and I would say, right, one theme is the parents did something, the parents are responsible, and another one might be abduction, and then another one might be she wandered off. And then within each of those, there's sub-themes. So in the by far largest group, which would be the parents are responsible, the parents did something, then you could group them into sub-themes, and you could say, all right, they're covering up an accident, or they are negligent, or they sold her. And then you could take each one of those and make even smaller sub-themes, and you could say, right, covering up an accident, well, she fell off her swing and she broke her neck, or she choked on the peppermint that grandma gave her, or actually she had an accident at the swimming hole and it was a case of dry drowning. And you could go on like that, and just people have so many different opinions. And you know why this is still happening 23 months later is because we are still none the wiser. The last press conference we had from the TBI, joint with Hawkins County Sheriff's Office, was 11 months ago, 11 months to this very day. I'm hoping that they do another press conference to mark the 2 years, so in a month from today. I'm hoping they do, but at the same time, it's just going to be really frustrating because they're just going to say all the same things and not answer all the same questions. And as I said in yesterday's video, we're all just baffled. This case is baffling. I've gone through every possible theory, every possible scenario, and I'm still no further forward. And back, March, April of last year, the lead investigator from Hawkins County Sheriff's Office, John Pruitt, said we're still no further forward than when we started. We've gone through cell phone data, cell tracking, we've gone through GPS, we've gone through everything at their disposal, and they're still no further forward than when they started. So is it too late for someone else? Have the cops given up? Not that it's cold as such. As long as leads are still coming in, then you can't say it's a cold case. It's only when all the leads dry up that you can say, right, this is now cold. The case stays open, but it's cold. So I don't know whether it will be classified as a cold case now, because I don't know. I'm guessing leads are still coming in, because people are still talking about it on the internet. But are they useful leads? Are they leads that are actually viable, that are actually credible? I don't know. But have the cops given up searching? Have the cops just kept a low profile because there's an investigation going on behind the scenes into something like trafficking? I don't think so. I feel completely demoralised saying this, that I don't think so. In March of last year, John Pruitt said that there was no sign that she'd been taken out of the area. There was no sign of abduction. Leslie Earhart always says there's a very real possibility that she just wandered away and got lost. But wouldn't there be signs of that as well? Like, if she wandered away and got lost, wouldn't there be at least one sign? And someone asked me in my comments to this video yesterday, what do I think happened to Summer? And every time I cover this case, every time I think about this case, I think slightly differently about it. And I'm going to say I just don't know. I have some theories that are stronger than others. Some I just don't think happened, but I can't discount anything. I can't discount anything. And 23 months down the line, not being able to discount anything completely demoralises me. It really does. And look, I cover a lot of other cases, and, sometimes I go a month without even talking about Summer Wells, because there's nothing new to report. It's only when the parents behave badly that you think, well, all right, I'll cover that, and at least it keeps Summer's name out there. But I've done a few videos lately about Summer, and I've kind of got to thinking about her a lot again. And every time I think about her, I think slightly differently. You know, one day I can think the parents definitely did something. They're so guilty. There's so many red flags. Other days I think, look, those red flags could just be red herrings. And yes, they look guilty. They're terrible parents. And maybe there was neglect in that home. And maybe those 3 little boys are a lot safer and will have a much better life now they're away from that toxic environment. I believe that's true. But could it be that despite the neglect, the parents aren't actually responsible for this? Yes. As Leslie Earhart said, there's a very real possibility she just wandered away. Even though her parents say there's no way she'd have wandered off the hill, kids do the darndest things. Could it be that there was so many mistakes made in those early days that, unlike the case of Cleo Smith, where they had a lucky break with that solitary phone ping, and then hours and hours and hours and hours of meticulous police work, maybe mistakes were made early on in Summer's case, and a solitary phone ping has slipped through the net. Maybe, like in the case of Bryn Hargreaves, which I covered over on Michelle Walks the other day, where Bryn had been lying in a wooded area just 300 yards away from his front door, and he'd been lying there dead for 14 months. There'd been numerous dog searches, and they missed him. Thick wooded area. Not an extensive area. It was kind of between his apartment complex and the next development along. Not miles and miles and miles and miles of woods and mountains. But a similar terrain, West Virginia, very similar terrain. And he was found down a ravine. Maybe fallen down, or was he pushed down? We don't know. But he'd been missed. He'd been missed by ground searches, by dogs. Presumably, they had the helicopters out when he was first reported missing, and they didn't see him. Is it that simple that Summer was missed because of the dense terrain, and she's down some kind of ravine, and the helicopters didn't pick her up? The dogs missed her, because the dogs are only as good as a trail that they can follow. You know, they thought on the 19th of June, when they found those footprints that are potentially Summer's scent, that they were going to find her, and they didn't. Did they just miss her? They could have been yards away from her and just missed her, and she could still be there. Or it could be the parents did do something. The parents did cover up something. The parents were involved in things that they can't talk about. Candace's wrong friends. But as time goes on, I think they're not criminal masterminds. Surely they would have made a mistake. You know, even if the cops made mistakes, they would have made a mistake. They're not criminal masterminds. But how would you pull it off? How would you pull it off if you were covering up an accident? How would you cover it up and not be caught for 23 months? Because I'm sure if the police had anything on the parents at all, they'd have arrested them. That would have been an easy win for the cops. I've gone through every possible scenario, everything. Look, go to my Summer Wells playlist, start at the bottom and work your way up. There's very little that I haven't covered in this case, and yet I still keep going back. Still keep going back to the very beginning, because there's got to be something. There's got to be something that everybody's missed, including the cops. There's got to be that one little clue. You know, I wish I could get my hands on the discovery, like a fly on the wall, like the Invisible Man, Cloak of Invisibility. Go into the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office or the TBI and get the Summerwells file and go through everything. You know, all the police interviews, all the data. Just go through every little bit on my own in my room and find that one little breadcrumb. Like that one little breadcrumb, that one solitary phone ping that led investigators in Western Australia to Cleo Smith. Maybe there's one solitary breadcrumb in those files somewhere, because 23 months down the line, what are the chances that someone's going to talk, that someone's going to confess? What are the chances of it? They've got away with it. But there's got to be a breadcrumb somewhere. And I don't believe it's on the internet. I don't. I believe there's a solitary breadcrumb somewhere in that discovery. I'm not going to be able to get my hands on it because I don't have the cloak of invisibility. I don't have a superpower of that kind. But if you ask me what superpower would I want, I would say the cloak of invisibility, because I want to go and steal the discovery. If law enforcement are going to crack this, it has to be completely new eyes, a new team, to take the discovery to date, go through every possible thing and find that one breadcrumb. Because without it, I do think it is too late for Summerwells. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I welcome all opinions, but please do be respectful. And it's goodbye from Miss Tillington and Miss Cassie Springer. I'll see you very soon in the next video. Bye, guys.